every day. Nothing seems to change. Everywhere I go, I keep seeing the same old things, and I can't take it no more. I would leave this town, but I ain't got nowhere else to go. Okay, so we're going to walk through When My Train Pulls In by Gary Clark Jr. It's one of my favorite songs to play on the guitar, and we're kind of loosely basing it off if you ever heard the EP version that he put out. It's just him and a single guitar, and that's kind of the version that I put up on YouTube and that I like to play out live. So I am going to try to teach it to you to the best of my ability. So here we go. So there's really going to be two parts, the part that you're going to kind of repeat, and then that little solo by yourself. Okay, so that's the first part. This song is kind of just a 12-bar blues in E minor, but the little riff that you're going to play is in an E minor. So the first part is you're doing open, hammer on, the A string, open, hammer on to the 2nd fret, then open D string, and then you hammer on to the 3rd fret of the low E, hit it again with just the open E, and then hammer on 2nd fret of the D and strum that, hold that note there, so it's kind of an E minor 7. So again it's okay, so hammer on, open to A, hammer on to the 2nd, open D, open E, hammer on to the G note, which is the 3rd fret, pluck it again, the low E, and then 2nd fret of the D string, hammer on, and then you strum the whole chord. So you're going to do that. The next transition is going to be just to an A minor 7. So this is super simple. A minor 7, you don't play the low E, leave the A open, and then your middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string. G is open, 1st fret with your pointer finger, 1st fret of the B string, and then you've got an open high E. So that's an A minor 7. Then what you're going to do is take your pinky and add it to the 3rd fret of the high E string. And then you can go down to the 2nd fret of the high E string with your ring finger. So you're going to kind of do a walk down. Then back to your... And now this time, you're going to do it one time. And then you're going to add this. Before you go to your next transition. So all that is you're going to take your any finger you want to. You're doing harmonics. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your fingers lightly, don't press, just lightly, just basically putting it down very light on the 12th fret. So right when you get to the 12th fret down here, there should be maybe a dot. You're going to put it below the dots on that metal itself. Okay, so usually when you're fretting, you're behind that metal. But this time you're going to be right up on the metal. If you can see my finger, that's right on the metal. You're covering all the strings and you're strumming while it's muted, like you would if you muted it here. It's going to sound like that, but if you mute it here with harmonics, it's gonna sound like that. You're gonna do it on the 12th fret, the 7th fret, and the 5th fret. Okay, so. Alright, and then your last transition would be going to the 5 chord, which is a B minor 7. We're going to do kind of a weird variation of it. So what you're going to do is your middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the A, leave the D string open, 2nd fret of the G, open on the B string, and then pinky is going to be on the high E string of the 2nd fret. And you're not going to play the low E. Back to your A minor 7. And then back to your riff. The only difference is I like to, right before I'm going to the next verse, instead of going, you go. It's just hammering on and pulling off on that 2nd fret of the D string over and over again until you're ready to go to the next verse. So altogether it sounds like, every day doing your riff, nothing seems to change. Everywhere I go I keep seeing the same long thing. And A minor 7, I can't take it no more. I would leave this town, but B minor 7, A minor 7, I ain't got nowhere else to go. Okay, so that's the verse, all right? And those verses repeat a couple of, I think like 3 or 4 times, and you just do that while you're singing. Now, if you get more comfortable with it, I like to palm mute while you're playing that. So you get to the A minor 7, then you wouldn't palm mute. Alright, so you can just play around with that. If you don't feel comfortable with the harmonics, you can just keep doing the riff. Or really basically, if you didn't even want to do the riff, you can just strum an E minor 7 the whole time you're singing that. So it'd be, woke up in the morning, more bad news, and seems like I was born to lose, and So I didn't do the riff there, and it sounded pretty good. You can do it that way if you'd like. Alright, so let's do the solo. So first things first, excuse me, first things first, this is going to be quite a stretch. I'm just going to put that out there. But you're going to do a chord all the way up the neck. So you're going to do open, low E, pointer finger on the 14th fret of the A, open D, open G, open B string, and then you're going to put your middle finger on the high E string of the 14th fret, and you're going to strum all that together. It's going to sound like this. Okay, now what you're going to do is use your pointer finger and your pinky. This is a really, really tough one, but I believe it. I believe in you. Alright, here we go. So then you're going to use your ring finger to go to the 15th fret of the high E, back to the 13th fret of the high E, the 14th fret of the high E, 15, 14, 15, and then watch this stretch here all the way to the 17th with your pinky on the high E. And then for the A minor, now I use my thumb, I'm not gonna lie. I use my thumb. For some people, they don't like to do that. So what you can do is you could do your, so it's the, first of all, it's the 5th fret of the low E string. I use my thumb to wrap around. You could do it with the pointer finger, Or I would probably do it with the middle finger, because you're gonna have to do some different changes there. But I'm going to teach it with the thumb, but let's see if we can figure out a variation together. So thumb on the 5th fret of the low E string, can play the A string open, then you're gonna do your ring finger on the 7th fret of the D, and then your pointer finger on the 5th fret of the G, then the B and the E are open, so it's like this. And then what you're doing is you're keeping your thumb there. Alright, and then what you're gonna do is play what we just played. Then you're gonna switch to your middle finger on the 5th fret of the D string and your pointer finger on the 4th fret of the G, and then everything else is the same, all the rest is open. Switch back to your first chord. You can do as many switches as you want. This is where the thumb would come in handy, but if you are not comfortable doing the thumb, you can throw your regular A minor with your walk down with your pinky. That is just fine there. It's kind of the same thing, it's just a different sound up here. Okay, so now you need to go back to an E minor, but rather than go to our regular one up here or the one all the way down here, we're going to do this. Okay, what that is a bar chord of an E minor. So you're going to play the open E string, you're going to take your pointer finger, you're going to bar all of the strings underneath from A down to high E on the 7th fret. Then you're going to take your middle finger, it's going to be in the 8th fret of the B string. Then your ring finger is going to be in the 9th fret of the D, and your pinky is going to be on the 9th fret of the G. So that's going to be a E minor. Then what you're doing is you're strumming twice, and then you're pulling off your middle ring and pinky, so that's just a bar on the 7th fret. So it goes like this. Back, put your fingers back, take them off. If you can throw a triplet strum in there, he likes to do that too, so it sounds like this. If you can't, that's totally fine. Or if you want to work up to that, just something that you could do is just very simply up and down. Okay, and then you want to go to your last part, which is going to the B minor 7. This one is also tricky. So I do the thumb. I'm using my thumb on the low E string of the 7th fret, and then I'm taking my pointer finger to bar everything underneath that, which would be barring from the A down to the E of the 7th fret, and then I'm using my pinky and stretching it all the way down to the 10th fret of the high E, so it sounds like this. And then I'm using my ring finger on the 9th fret of the high E, so it's... Same thing with an A minor, which would then be you're barring the entire 5th fret and you're using your pinky to play the high E string on the 8th fret, and your ring finger going to the 7th fret of the high E. And then back to your trick, and then you're ready to go into another verse or chorus. So all together the solo is going to sound like this. I'll do it slow. Ready? too. You can do your pinky on the 10th, 9th of the high E string, and then open, but it would just be the 7th of the high E string. A way you could also do that is to just bar everything with your pointer finger, and then you can use your pinky. So not worrying about the thumb, you could do that too. So it look like this. Okay, and then you're back to your next verse, chorus, however you want to do. So you could do all of that. I'm just going to put this at the very end. It's the simplified version of it. So you're just strumming your E minor 7. Woke up in the morning, more bad news. So that's open everything except for the 2nd fret of the A string or D string, whichever one you want to do. They both sound fine. And A minor 7. I can't take it no more. Strumming, E minor 7, then your B minor 7 we learned. If things don't change around here, no use of me hanging around. So you can make this song as simple as you want, or spice it up with some of that other stuff. But I know this one was kind of confusing and there's a lot of different parts. If there's anything I can help explain better in the comments, please let me know, and I will try to do my best to explain it there. Hope this helps.